It's about doing the right thing and basically avoid, completely unnecessary situation to happen, my gorgeous Sagittarius. So this is what you need to understand, what you need to remember, because at the beginning of this week, you are really going to be facing this quite unusual situation. And the situation that you are going to be facing, that you're going to be like really thinking about so intensely, it's at the same time, going to make you aware of something that you need to do. So it's about you facing a certain situation at the beginning of this week and like paying attention to it and kind of knowing and understanding what exactly do you need to apply to your life, what exactly do you need to do in order to avoid unnecessary and pointless situation to happen, which is only going to make things worse for you. So what you need to understand is that you must not overanalyze whatsoever, because when we are overanalyzing something, then we just kind of lose what we should be paying attention to, because we lose our focus. And once we lose our focus, it is very, very, very difficult to weigh on things, and then, to see what we should really kind of like take on in terms of the actual priorities. So the bottom line is, my gorgeous Sagittarini, that there is going to be the situation that you are going to become aware of at the beginning of this week. You're going to be watching at something, you're going to be looking at something, and at that moment in time, it's not about that situation, it's not about what you're going to be looking and what you're going to be watching, but it's more about, oh my God, I need to do something. I need to do something immediately. You are going to have this such a great sense of urgency in order to do something in your life. When it comes to your life, it's about making a certain move. And this, in that moment in time, it's going to become absolutely obvious to you that it's to do with you preventing from something unnecessary to happen, like an unnecessary rather dark tower. So this is why it's important to not to overanalyze and to make a choice almost immediately. And this is to do with you making a choice. Intuitively, you will know exactly what to do. And it's about making a choice, but it's also about being brave. It's about being strong. It's about standing firm. And it's about believing in yourself. It's about believing in your spiritual journey. It's about believing in your power above anything else. And I know that there are going to be a couple of things that you're going to hear, at the beginning of this week, which are really going to put you off. Like, not when it comes to this, but it's going to put you off in such a way where you're going to think, oh my God, there is no hope. You know what I mean? But it's nothing to do with you personal. It's nothing to do with your personal life. So maybe you're going to listen to some kind of news or something you are going to hear that has nothing to do with your life, but it's still gonna kind of really put you off, and that in itself, it's going to affect your own like kind of energy, and you just have to like really ignore that. You have to bypass that. Why am I saying this to you? Why? Because this couple of things that you are going to hear from the outside are gonna put you in a slightly negative state of mind, where subconsciously, like there is almost as if there is going to be subconsciously like a blockage that you are going to be facing, where there shouldn't be blockage. And that in itself is going to create a moment where you are going to feel like, oh God, that you can't carry on with something so important to you, because this is in itself going to make you like a little bit worried. So that's something that I need you to understand, to avoid, and to ignore as much as you can. I'm sorry, I hope I'm not too confusing, but the bottom line is that you're going to hear a couple of things on the outside that are going to put you off from you doing something really important. So the bottom line is just, basically keep going and try to ignore any kind of downer, try to ignore any kind of like negativity. And when you do hear something, a couple of negative things, on the outside, from the outside, you must not let that to put you off whatsoever, because I know that you are going to be just a little bit sensitive at that moment in time, because you are going to be thinking about a lot of things things, what you kind of like about your life, what you don't like about your life. You are going to go into such a deep like kind of thinking mode, and this is brilliant because it's at the same time this is going to help you to dive really deep within. It's like a bit of a shadow work that you're going to do again, and the shadow work, it's ever so important because it's like kind of like a bringing things out that are stuck very, very deep down within our subconscious, within our subconscious mind, and things that we suppressed and repressed. We can suppress and repress certain things, you know, in our lives, you know, to protect ourselves, and this is what the brain does normally. You know, like you go into a certain mode and you suppress certain things, and you have to do that in order to save your sanity, which is absolutely fine. But you can't do that forever. You can't do that always, because that very thing, it's important to enlighten, because we can't move on in our lives. We can't grow spiritually. So this is why there is a lot going to be on your mind, and you are going to be doing a bit of a shadow work. So if you don't understand what the shadow work is, it's just like you're going to go kind of like really deep, and you're going to be thinking a lot about lots of things, and you're going to be thinking about a few things that you actually even forgot about when it comes to like your past, for example, something that happened to you like a long time ago, and you're going to be like a little bit here, a little bit there. You're going to be like all around the place, but there is something going to come to the surface. There is something going to come to the surface. You're going to realize, and this is going to happen in such a bizarre and such a strange way, my gorgeous Sagittarini. You know that you're going to be somewhere, it's something to do with the nature at around the beginning of this week. Maybe you're going to be looking at the nature, maybe you're going to be like kind of like maybe you are going to be within the nature, for example, and then, you know, something is going to be like really triggered within you, you know, and then suddenly you're going to find yourself like thinking about so many things, and something is going to come to the surface, something that happened to you like such a long time ago, but you didn't understand how much this actually affected you, and it's going to be like, oh my God, and I can't explain the way this is going to happen to you. It is a very difficult to explain, but it's going to happen when you least expect it. You're not going to be prepared to this whatsoever. But it's going to happen at the moment in time when you are kind of connecting or reconnecting with the nature, or you're going to be within the nature, or you're going to be looking at the nature. Maybe you're going to be even thinking about the nature, but the nature is going to be playing a really big and giant role here. The nature in itself creates a very, the nature in itself, it has this a very unique energy, and this unique energy that nature has, when it comes to us, it works really perfectly because it helps us to see through things on a completely different level, from a completely different angle. So this is why this is going to be triggered within you. You know that this is very, very deep, my gorgeous Sagittarini, but it's really important when it comes to your this spiritual journey. You need to understand the importance of this, because otherwise you're not going to be able to kind of grow spiritually. And maybe you have wondered, you know, why you have like, you know, why did you have a couple of ideas on your mind for a while, and why you haven't kind of done anything about it? Or maybe one idea, or maybe something really important to you, you keep on thinking about it, something to do with your life, something personal that you want to do, but you've never kind of move on from square number 1 to square number 2. And this is where this kicks in. This is where this comes forward. You see, something that happened to you in the past, you did not get over whatsoever. In fact, almost as if you like kind of forgot about it. But on top of that, it's just like you didn't even realize how much this actually affected you. And you know, before you have this like kind of like a moment, you know, like it's gonna happen somehow connected to the nature, as I said. But when you have this moment, my gorgeous Sagittarini, you know, you are gonna have some kind of a warning, pre-warning beforehand. Either you're gonna be dreaming about something which you're gonna be reminded at the time when that happens, or either you're gonna have some kind of you had some kind of a lucid dreaming, or you are going to have some kind of lucid dreaming moment. Maybe you're going to have a bit of astral projection moment, and then you're going to remind yourself of that, and then you're going to realize, oh my God, I actually was prepared for this. I actually had some kind of indication from this, you know. So this is important. This is so important, because after that moment, something really mental something really amazing. It's actually going to happen to you very shortly after that moment in time, you know. So this, and what is going to happen to you, it's really going to come to you in the form of the actual opportunity. You're going to have an opportunity that like you can only dream about this opportunity. On one hand, when you have this opportunity that you're going to have after that moment in time, this is what the direct result of you realizing this. So it's you acknowledging something that happened to you in your past that affected you, which you're going to be reminded of. And even before that, you're going to have a slight warning, whether this is going to be in your dreams, whether this is going to be lucid dreaming, whether this is going to be astral projection. However, this is a very, very strong point for you to like really face and reflect on as much as you possibly can. So you're going to realize something that affected you, and you didn't even realize at the time that this actually affected you. And this is important because it's all about the focus. And after this moment in time, it's all about what this is actually going to start bringing into your life, because this in itself created a little blockage. You suppress this, you repress this deep within your memories, my gorgeous Sagittarius, so much that you actually forgot about the whole thing. But this is our lives. This is the way our lives are. We need to face this, you know, we need to face this in order to move on. This is so important. You have no idea what a stop and what a blockage this has actually placed on your lives. So that's why, you know, it's all about you kind of understanding what this is, realizing this, what this is. There is nothing that what you need to do. All you need to do is just kind of acknowledge this. And as soon as you acknowledge this, there is nothing that you need to do. And it's all about your focus. It's all about your acknowledgement, my gorgeous Sagittarian. And at that moment in time, something is going to be unlocked. Something is going to be unlocked. This deep within. This is very difficult to explain, but this now it's going to prepare you for the most special part of your spiritual journey. And this is only the beginning. This is going to lead only towards the beginning. So shortly after that moment in time, you are going to become aware of this opportunity, which is absolutely going to blow you away. You will not believe what a kind of opportunity you are going to have, but you're also not going to believe how strong you're going to feel, how determined you're going to feel, how strong you're going to feel, how adamant you're going to feel. You're really going to surprise yourself. And this in itself are such a great signs that something really bad, you kind of like you basically healed something really bad, so you came on top now. So this is like absolutely so significant, my gorgeous Sagittarini, because you are going to be able to move on indeed. And going back to the beginning of this week, my gorgeous Sagittarini, going back to the beginning of this week, you know, it's like so it's all about you kind of understanding, you know, when I said that you're going to need to make a choice, you're going to need to make a choice without analyzing, because what are you going to realize at the beginning of this week? What are you going to realize when I told you that you're going to be facing like some kind of situation, some kind of group of people? Remember, sorry, I'm all around the place, I know. Going back to the beginning of this week, when I said that you're going to be watching group of people, for example, and you're going to realize exactly what do you need to do at that moment in time in order to prevent something bad and something negative happening in your life. You're going to realize that immediately, but you're also going to go into this annoying mode of over-analyzation. No, baby, no. You just need to go with your first initial feeling. You need to make a choice, okay? Because just you becoming aware of this, it's an important clarity in itself. This is to do with you following your intuition, but also it's to do with you like sticking to your own path and knowing clearly what you need to understand, knowing clearly and understanding what you need to do in terms of development. But also at the same time, you are going to need to be brave. You are going to need to be really, really strong, and you are going to need to kind of like really stay grounded and recentered. But the bottom line is that I know that you are going to need to be brave, because you are going to feel, I'm not telling you like, oh, you're going to need to, well, I'm telling you you're going to need to be brave, but you're still going to feel like, oh my God, I feel so brave. I feel so brave. You are going to feel really brave. So this in itself, it's really going to require from you to move on, to live the life that you do not like anymore, that you do not want to live. And I'm not saying that you're miserable, sad, or anything, but I'm just saying that this is going to remind you, like it's going to open your eyes, and it's going to remind you how much you want more out of life, and it's really going to pump you up nicely. And you're not going to move on like at that moment in time, but you're just going to decide to move on, and this is going to be brilliant. And when you decide to move on, something really weird is going to happen, something really weird, very weird and unusual experience, where you are going to realize even more so the power of sticking to something traditional, or you're returning to something traditional, and this is what's going to keep you going. And I know it sounds really crazy, but this is exactly how you're going to feel, you know, because what are you doing right now? You're moving on, you're walking away, you're just decided to move on and walk away, but primarily from you, like realizing right now for how long you have felt like your hands were tied behind your back, and for how long you felt like you were in some kind of self-imposed prison. You're going to realize, you know what, I'm sick of this. I had absolutely enough of this self-imposed prison. And I'm not saying that you have put yourself in a self-imposed prison. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes, yes, we do, like kind of tend to stay within the area, within the zone, within the actual dimension where we feel comfortable, okay? But feeling comfortable is preventing us from moving on and coming out of our comfort zone, and that means that we do not progress in life. And we can be multi-millionaires, multi-billionaires, we can be as happy we can always be, but we are always changing, we are always growing, we are always evolving, we always need to keep moving on, because this is exactly what what we are and who we are as the actual spiritual beings, because if we stay too long in like a somewhere within a dimension where we are so completely comfortable, and but then again we don't have challenges, and if we don't have challenges, then we're not re-energizing ourselves. We really prevent our own personal evolution. Then sooner or later everything is going to become like really boring, and we're going to become unhappy with our lives and with things that we are doing. And this is why so often you hear about multi-millionaires, multi-billionaires, being so unhappy. You see what I mean? It's not only about money, but it's about our spirituality, it's about our happiness, it's about us being daring, it's about us being open-minded, and it's always about us like wanting to explore more within our lives, more in our spiritual journey. So this is why this is so important, my gorgeous Sagittarini, indeed. And look at this, I'm going to show you this now. Where is it? Sagittarini, parapapam, parapam. I don't know where oracle cards are. I don't know where my oracle cards are right now, pa-pa-para-para-pam. Well, here you see this. I'm just going to take these ones. I like this oracle. Oh god, it's all gonna break. No, it's not all gonna break, but it's all gonna fall down, baby. You see this now? These are odd. These oracle cards are so odd, but they're so beautiful, at the same time. I love them. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this oracle card, my gorgeous Sagittarini. I just had a need to take this oracle card out, and let's see what the oracle card is going to say. And at this moment in time, I'm going to try to invite some kind of like spirit guide. I'm inviting a spirit guide to come forward and just help us to have the spirit message. So this is going to be the message from the spirit guide, my gorgeous Sagittarini. So what this message is going to be before I move on to the mid part of this week. So the message from the spirit guide is, oh my god, this is crazy, but it doesn't surprise me. You see this card, yeah? You see what is it saying? Spirit messages. There you go. Thank you. You see this spirit message. So it's not every card saying spirit message, by the way. So this is the spirit guide, message from the spirit guide, and it's saying spirit messages. You have to observe your limitations. My gorgeous Sagittarini, this week you must observe your limitations. You must observe your limitations. By observing your limitations only, something really amazing is going to happen. Like, especially when it comes to you suddenly having an idea, realization, you know, you suddenly having a solution, which is like, it may not even happen suddenly, but as long as you kind of observe your limitations, you know, very shortly after that moment in time, you know, the realizations that you are going to have are going to be completely out of this world. And this is why you need to understand this. It's by you observing your limitations, you're already sending a very powerful signal, okay? And by sending a powerful signal, at the same time, this is like almost, it's like to do with like it's almost like a magnetic energy that I'm talking about, because that in itself is going to bounce back, and it's going to invite the right thought, the right realization into your life. And it is like really going to feel like such a fantastic moment of enlightenment, where at the same time the energy is going to be absolutely perfect when it comes to you like feeling like really kind of like free and kind of like keen to do this. So there you go. This is your message from the spirit guide, my gorgeous Sagittarini. By the time you get to the mid part of this week, you know, it's like more about like this discovery, this amazing discovery that you are going to have about yourself. But before you have this discovery, you know, the mid part of this week, it's really bringing you a really wonderful reward that is going to come from hard work, okay? And this is absolutely brilliant, because this amazing reward that is actually going to come from hard work, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to make you feel really good about yourself. It's going to make you feel really happy. But at the same time, you know, it's going to like kind of make you aware of the fact like what you are really good at. And there is something else that you are going to find out about yourself here, which is absolutely brilliant. You are going to have a very interesting discovery. So when it comes to this result that you are going to have from a hard work, my gorgeous Sagittarian, it's a bit more than that. It's about the discovery that you're actually going to have about yourself. And now this discovery that you're going to have about yourself, you know, it's like you're really going to like this, because it's more about realizing like that is going to be such a sacred moment, because you will see like, you know, there is something that you've learned lately, there is something that you focused on lately, there is something that you were actually doing lately, but you didn't realize the extent of like what an extent this actually took on your life in the best possible way. So you are gonna have such a nice realization about yourself here, and this in itself, it's like gonna be really personal, but it's also gonna bring so much confidence and determination into your life. And that means that, you know, something really couple of hours, like few hours after that, there is going to be quite unusual situation which is going to take place, something quite unexpected. It's going to happen, but it's going to come in such a way where you are going to realize, oh my God, I really have a good luck. My God, I really have a good luck, you know. And that's how you're going to think. Something is going to happen to you. It's not going to be major. It's not going to be huge, but you are going to, your response is going to be like, oh my God, I am lucky, aren't I? Kind of at the moment, I'm really lucky. Do you know what I mean? And this is going to be a really clear sign and indication that, you know, things are changing in the best possible way for you. After this moment in time, there is going to be so much luck that you're actually going to attract. So I would really highly suggest you, you know, that now you need to focus on those things that, you know, mean to you so much. You need to focus on those things that you're so passionate about, and put as much as your energy you possibly can towards it, and see what this is going to take. Start now and do not stop for the next few weeks or whatsoever. You will see that this is going to take you to a completely different destination in your life that you did not even know it existed. exists, you know, let alone how you're actually going to feel about it. This is going to this is going to create such a sacred point on your spiritual journey, where within the next few weeks, you know, not only your life is slowly but surely going to start changing, but also when it comes to your future and things that you're planning about your future, everything is going to start looking more colorful after this moment in time, after this point. So it's all about you kind of like really need to understand that there is so much energy that you need to put towards something really specific still, and something that you're working on currently. You need to put more energy towards it, and also some kind of collaboration. It's going to be ever so important, because as soon as you become aware of some kind of collaboration, which is going to be so important, you know, you need to understand that this is going to be just a few days after that moment in time, after that particular collaboration happens, or an important conversation with you and a couple of more people, for example, you know, talking about something, working on something, discussing something. This is so important for you to go through, because it is going to lead towards like a huge celebration, because it's not about collaboration, it's not about talking as such, but it's more about realizing how can you deal with a specific problem that you did not even ask about, that you did not even think about. So you will know how to deal with a specific problem here again, which is to do with something really personal, but it's to do with something that was holding you down, and it's to do with something that you needed to come up with some kind of conclusion, but it was affecting you in such a way where you couldn't be you weren't as energetic because of this, and because you couldn't express yourself in the way you wanted to express yourself. So that means that this was holding the great deal of you down when it comes to you being yourself. And this is another thing that it's so important, you know, like when it comes to the spiritual journey, we have to be ourselves 1000%. I mean, you can't really say 1000%, but you know what I mean, you have to be yourself 100%. What can I say? You know what I mean. You have to be yourself, because if there is only one little part of you that is not yourself, this is just going to affect everything else. And the more yourself you are, the more you do things in your own way, the more you live your life in your own way, the more successful you're going to be, and the more happier you're going to be, my gorgeous Sagittarini. Indeed, you know, this is absolutely brilliant, because also by the time you get to the last part of this week, you are going to become aware of like some kind of events that are going to require immediate action. And now here you just have to trust your instincts, because by trusting your instincts, you're going to stay focused, and by trusting your instincts, you know, you are really gonna be able to be more passionate, and at the same time, by trusting your instincts, you are gonna make a really wise decision, which is indeed going to bring you a public recognition and success. Okay, so this is why this is so important indeed. By the time you get to the last part of this week, my gorgeous Sagittarini, by the time you get to the last part of this week, my gorgeous Sagittarini, you know, you're gonna be so happy, because it's to do with this absolutely horrible restriction. It's to do with like an element of your life that, you know, it's like some kind of restriction, but and it's very dark, and it's very toxic, and it's very negative, and it's absolutely horrible. And this type of restriction, you know, it's to do with something that sadly you can't kind of do something about it like almost immediately, you know, and it's to do with just you know, you waiting for the certain time to pass, and you waiting for something to like kind of come to an end, something that you just cannot speed up whatsoever. So you are gonna have such a great news at the end of this week, some really horrible element and horrible part of your life. You will see what this is, because this was like really restricting you in such a bad way. And this was restricting you to the point where you couldn't work on some kind of wish of yours. You couldn't work on your life as much as you wanted to work, and only then you're gonna realize how much this was affecting you as well. So this is why this is so important, my gorgeous Sagittarini, indeed. So like a very bad restriction, it's going to come to an end. And that restriction, when I'm saying very bad restriction, I mean that this restriction was preventing you to work on some kind of dream of yours. Okay, this was slowing you down. It was slowing you down so much you couldn't like kind of be as determined as you should have been by now. And there is this absolutely a wonderful person here, an amazing human being here, somebody ridiculously powerful, ridiculously spiritual, somebody very unusual in so many different ways, but somebody who's like a kind of, on one hand, very stable, very authoritative, very business orientated, but then on another hand, that person is also ridiculously spiritual as well, and really weird and really strange. I have seen this person before. I have seen this person in your reading before, and this is some kind of person who you either love or you either don't love. You either love or you either hate. It's like a Marmite. I've seen this person before, but most certainly and most importantly, you love this person, and you are going to be like kind of watching this person. You're going to be either thinking about this person, and then I think that this person is going to come into your mind. And when that person comes into your mind, my gorgeous Sagittarini, what do I mean to say by this? At that moment in time, you are going to have such a like kind of like you're gonna realize what is the next step through that particular person. You're gonna realize what is the next step. That person is really going to inspire you now. Just remember that this restriction is going to come to an end. That restriction, you're not even gonna realize that was actually affecting you from working on your dreams so much. It was preventing you from you giving yourself 100% to what you were working on. The more energy you give to something, the greater outcome is going to be. But if something is slowing us down and affecting us, then we can't connect. And normally how we can actually connect and have the full impact of this, so this can't have a full impact on our lives how it actually should be normally. So as soon as you become aware of this, you are going to remember, you're going to think of this person. It's a man, it's a male person. You're going to think of this person, you're going to remember this person, and now suddenly through this person you will know what the next step you should do, because the clear direction and focus is going to come from you understanding now what do you need to do and what the next step is going to be, and it's going to come through that particular person who is indeed going to be on your mind. Another thing I was going to say to you, my gorgeous Sagittarini, it's like at around the end of this week, please do pay attention to what your body is going to try to tell you, because you are going to have a really, again, strong connection in between the mind, body and spirit. And that means that suddenly, your body is going to be giving you signals, okay, that something is wrong, maybe with a certain part of your body. For example, if your leg is hurting, don't ignore, just acknowledge this. By acknowledging this, oh, my leg is hurting, I'm going to do something about it. Just by you acknowledging this, you're already halfway there. You're really like giving in a very vibrant and sacred energy, which is actually going to start a healing process. But if there is only one little doubt, only one tiny little doubt within you, it is not going to work. So this is why you have to be 100% open-minded. Obviously, you just acknowledge it and then you do something about it, but just by acknowledging already, you kind of start the process of healing. For example, if you're like if your stomach is hurting, then that means that you need to change your diet, and then you're just like kind of, okay, I need to change my diet, but then you need to do something about it, of course, as well, and then if your head is hurting, for example, or I need to drink more water, for example, just acknowledge it and see what the next step of that is going to be, which is normally what we should do anyway. But the energy is going to be really vibrant when it comes to healing, but it can only be really powerful when we are completely open-minded to towards it, because it's all in our mind. You know, it all starts in our thoughts. And if we are thinking negatively, then this is just not going to do absolutely anything. It's going to affect the whole process. It's like a little spiritual domino. So this is why you have to be as open-minded as you possibly can. And another thing I was going to say, and I can see that for you as well, avoid sugar, cut out sugar. Please, I know that this is going to sound crazy but you know, I cannot stand sugar whatsoever. I know it's like a little bit of chocolates, cakes, okay, I understand to have a little bit of dessert every now and then, that's okay, you know, I understand this, but at least try to cut out the actual sugar. If you haven't cut out the actual sugar out of your diet, you have to understand how important this is. And when it comes to you, this is something that this week it's actually going to make you feel even more sensitive when it comes to sugar and when it comes to sugary things, okay? And you may have a little indication, like maybe you're going to eat something sweet and then you're going to feel like a little bit uncomfortable, you know, and this is also probably going to come in a form of the actual some kind of indication that this is something that you should most certainly pay attention to, my gorgeous Sagittarini, and do something about it. But the bottom line is, please try to cut out the actual sugar out of your diet completely. I've stopped taking sugar like about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I don't even know anymore, and I just have like organic maple syrup, or I have organic honey. I know organic honey would not be good for people who are vegans, of course, so therefore you can have like organic maple syrup, for example, you know. So it's a fantastic substitute for sugar, because sugar is so dangerous and it's so bad, and it's like literally, it's like worse than that stuff that people put up their nose. You know what I mean, yeah? So it's worse than that, honestly. I know it's difficult to believe, but it's just, you just take it in a different way. You just eat it, and it's still so damaging. So please, for the love of God, just try to completely cut out sugar, my gorgeous Sagittarini, as much as you possibly can. It is ever so important. And please do pay attention to an unusual dream that you're going to have this week. This week, you're going to have a really weird dream. Like, this dream is not going to make sense whatsoever. This dream can happen in a midweek, this dream can happen this dream can happen at the beginning, midweek, or at the end of this week. But there is going to be a very unusual dream that you're going to have, and it's not going to make sense whatsoever. It's not going to make sense whatsoever. But that dream, that unusual dream that you are going to have, that's not going to make sense whatsoever, it will mean that somebody very close to you needs a little bit of your attention. Somebody very close to you is angry about something, and somebody very close to you is unhappy about something, and somebody very close to you needs your attention. And this is what this dream is going to mean. And I know it sounds absolutely crazy. This dream, it's not going to have anything to do with that particular person. You're not even going to see that particular person in that dream. That dream, it's not going to make sense whatsoever. But somehow that day when you have that dream, you know, within that day, before the end of the day, somehow that person is going to come into your mind, that particular person, and you are going to feel really sorry about that particular person, because you're going to realize that you have done something to that person and you've hurt that person, and you're going to realize that you've hurt someone like really badly without realizing this. And this is going to be a sign, an indication to step through, step forward, and do what you possibly can in order to fix this, if you can. It's just so important. Like, oh my God, this is like gonna mean to you so much, because there is something that you're gonna find out from that person, through that person. There is something that you're gonna find out. There is some kind of information that you're gonna gain. And the information that you're going to gain from that person, it's almost as if like, oh my God, just something that's missing in your life. Something that's missing in your life, you're going to understand, and you're going to realize some kind of a secret or some kind of quicker way to do something. Whatever it is, it's going to be so important. Okay, my gorgeous Sagittarini, thank you ever so much for watching my videos. I'm sending you brightest blessings, lots of love, healing, peace, and light to every single one of you. Sasha Bonasin, psychic medium. Love you. Bye.